random building out here. And so I figured I would sit up here, have a chat with you guys out here. I didn't have anybody that wanted to join today. Life does its thing, and we all are real busy. So here goes. I have some stuff I'd like to talk to y'all about. I've talked with a couple people this last week, and I think we're going into the winter and the fall, and this is a hard time for everybody. It's not easy for people to just force happiness. And I feel like I've been battling all week ways to combat the wave of our earth, and come to find out, I think it's just time to just cruise. Go ahead and start. Woke up a little sniffly today. Today I'd like to talk about, mental power with finances, because I think it's huge. I think we all struggle with what to do, when to do, why to do what we do. And if you need some mental power or mental strength during the process, just remember you've always got to where you are, and you always get to where you're going. Especially with finances, that's just a number, and you can always change it and grow. Every day I look for ways to try to change and grow my finances, and there's no surefire way. I do know if you just do and act properly, positively, and keep going with life, things and opportunities and stuff will come to you. I used to always feel super lucky because I've always been like a lucky, fortunate person. But now I just believe that it's like it's just opportunities. I've been given a lot of opportunities, and I've taken advantage of the opportunities to get to where I'm going. And so I want people to be able to do the same thing with their finances. I don't want you to be so beat up or feel like you've got to be judged or looked at a certain way because you make a certain dollar sign. I've got friends in high places, friends in low places. And when it comes down to it, they all make the same decisions we all make, whether their finances are good or bad. The one thing I do hear a lot of people say, though, is they want to get away from working because they don't have hours. They don't have any hours to live. If you can find a balance in your life with living and seeing your loved ones and your family and people you care about, then that's what I would do, hands down. I've been wondering what my next career move would be outside of electrical work. But I don't really know if I really want to chase like some type of career. I'd rather just talk and, I don't know, maybe fill my time with what other people have to say and thoughts and ideas. I was talking the other day with a buddy of mine, Josh, who I work for off and on. And to see him be so successful the way that he is awesome. But to see him still at the same time feel it kind of overweigh on his shoulders, and he'd rather spend more time with his family, shows me that it doesn't matter who you are, how Christian you are, how not Christian you are, or whatever you're doing. It shows me that we all are after that same goal, and I hope we can all get there one day. I would love more ideas and feedback on anyone else's like work life and stuff like that. I would love to know how it is and the thought process you have and your days in and days out on things with work. We've got a bunch of people that reached out this week that have been wanting to talk, and I've been wanting to talk too. So I think next weekend we're going to do a podcast with my friend Eric. He's going to come out, and we'll have a lot to talk about then as well as now. I want to reach a couple points. I know I'm about positivity and staying positive, but sometimes life does its thing and we lose people. And all I can say is I encourage you to spend your time adequately, because we don't know when tomorrow is. I had a phone call with my best friend who I'd lost. I had a phone call with his mother the other day, and we just sat up till like 1:30 in the morning and just talked about anything and everything and him. And that was one of the hardest times I've ever had, talking to somebody and trying to make them happier or try to make them feel a little bit better with something that I could never fathom. I learned that losing your child is not comprehensible. And I asked someone what they would do, had they lost their child, what would you do if you were God and you wanted that same child back in heaven with you, or whatever place we go to, whatever you believe in? Would it still be fair for the worldly person to want to hold on to their child, or would it be more fair for God to be able to take his child or her child? And all the way through death, sometimes we're selfish. And when it comes down to it, if you ain't living, you are dying. And I wish y'all would all live a little bit more. Put the phones down a little bit more. See each other a little bit more. Go find an abandoned squatter's house and just sit in it for a little while. We talked for a while, and it took me several hours to get to more of like a joking, laughing matter, because it's not easy facing death. It's inevitable. I guess that's what makes it not easy. But we laughed, and we found peace through the conversation together. And now I know there's another person who, realizes they can connect to me and has somebody out there that actually does care. Boy, it took me a lot to come out and do that this morning. I've been sniffling. I didn't know if I really wanted to come out and do anything, but I've been looking forward to saying something to somebody or anybody that wants to listen, because I have a feeling that someone needs to hear the stuff that I have to say. Just because that's how my life's always been out. That's how my life has always been and played out. Every time I've thought I've been down or something just seemed like it was too rough, I could go out anywhere and somebody would say the right thing. And I see more and more of that every single day. And I've been seeing more and more of that every single day. So in a way, whichever God y'all believe in, pretty sure he's making himself very well known and present. But I think he's doing it through all of us. He's doing it to the people who don't believe and the people who don't feel the same way and think the same ways. So if you've ever lost anybody you love, my heart goes out to you. It goes out to you hard. I encourage you to make a phone call and step out of your boundaries and reach out to somebody or anything that might, listen or actually care. If you stay in this worldly lifestyle and you surround yourself with worldly things, all you'll ever feel is empty. And that's a feeling I haven't felt in a while. And I have my own battles and things like that, but I just don't feel empty because I don't hold on to these worldly things. If I'm down and out, I don't want to go just like seek somebody I might think could help. Just kind of talk to people who do help, who do care and know what it's like. Actually live in other people's shoes for once instead of their own selfish shoes. It's hard. But I think, through losing my friends, there's all this COVID talk and all this media talk and all these things I'd like to stay away from. But I wish that they would talk a little bit more, about problems that I see are actual problems, like mental illness and people struggling and the realization of being disconnected from this world. And I'm really hoping that people don't feel so disconnected. Boy, I think this stuff's wet. It keeps going out. I don't want people to be so disconnected. And I don't think COVID could even touch how many people I've lost through suicide or drug abuse, car crashes, etc. So my point of bringing something negative up is hopefully to raise awareness to like call thy neighbor and reach out to thy neighbor, because you never know what's going on. It's cliche. Everyone knows this. They don't want to hear it 1,000 times. But I've got, stories upon stories upon stories of helping people or just doing that daily thing that changes them. And just answering the phone call, my best friend's mom made it to where she could go to sleep with a smile on her face one more day. And I know I'm out in the middle of nowhere right now, and I might seem disconnected from like worldly things. I still am connected, and I plan on using it as very much as I can to try to achieve what I want to achieve. But I'm out here in the middle of nowhere, and I feel more connected to people and my friends and family than I've ever felt my whole life. Everybody has been able to call me and just start talking. My phone's usually always open, and if it ain't, I'll be very blunt about not being able to talk. I'm not too afraid of hurting feelings anymore. Try not to ever do it, but it's just not my thing. So with mental illness, that battle, that self demon that comes back every single day, it's all our individual jobs to home in on those demons and beat them. It's no one else's fight. Yeah, God will stand with you, and the gods you don't believe in will stand with you. But you always stand with you, even when you want to choose to fall. If you're hearing this, you always stood back up. So I hope that rise always continues. I hope nobody gives up on themselves. There's no reason to do that. Suicide is very selfish, and it's very understandable too at the same time. But mental illness and mental health, in my opinion, is 1,000 times bigger than this COVID shit ever could be, ever will be, or any of that. And all this is just my opinion. Don't take any advice from me medically or any type of way. I'm not here to dictate anybody's life or change anybody's life. I'm worried about changing my own life. And so far, so good. I mean, I'm here right now continuing to do a podcast, continue to keep going, continue to keep growing. And let me tell you, there's negative stuff that hits me constantly. It's not all flowers and roses. But every time I want it to be flowers and roses and good things, I go there and I make it happen. If you don't have children, you don't understand what that fight's for. But back to the mental illness thing. As long as you can reach out, whether you can even speak, there's still body language that you can expose to people, and somebody can interpret it the right way and care about what you have to say and how you feel. For all of you in a relationship, if you want to make it, you've got to beat the mental illness thing. Time and space is so important in a relationship. It could stop everything. And the reason I bring up relationships is because that, as a huge factor of mental illness, every one of us have lost somebody we care about. Every one of us has loved the wrong person, and it hurts. And those are real problems. We continue living, and we just move forward after we go through this harsh breakup or this big deal went south or something. We just keep living, forced to deal with it without ever addressing it. Sometimes we address it, sometimes we smoke, sometimes we drink, sometimes people do whatever they do, pick up a Bible, turn to God, and those things help temporarily. But like what truly is going to help is if you actually face the things that are bothering you. Meditation is amazing, and it does wonders. Reaching out's amazing, it does wonders. Walking and any type of physical movements and stuff do wonders. So if you're feeling down, change your environment for a minute and see if that'll change everything that you might have going on or the things around you. Because in relationships, when they break off and you lose them, that's just it. A lot of times you don't have anybody to talk to. Sometimes you do have people to talk to, but truly and wholeheartedly, they're just waiting for you to quit talking. They're just waiting for you to be healed and for you to be happy and be yourself again. And I go back to that word, yourself. If you can go back and treat all your relationships with respecting yourself just as much as you do the other person, you probably won't lose and have to even have this mental battle if the relationship ends. One of my recent relationships ended, and it was nothing but God intervening. And I dealt with it. I dealt with it for a while, very easily. Lucky for me. But it's how you carry yourself through the battles and then afterwards that really, really matter. Don't be a person one day and then not continue to strive to be that person every day, because it's real easy to get off course. And then when you get off course, it's hard to face those demons and those battles because you don't want to face them. You want to stay off course and go get fucked up. And I think while you're in a relationship, giving your partner space or the ability to work on themselves mentally and or physically will change a lot of things. during the process and then after the process. If you give something 100% all the time and then it's taken away from you, all you could ever say is you like truly did your best. And that if that's not good enough, then I could never understand what is. I can hear the birds in the back, man. And of course, Bobby, I saw a red bird right before coming out to this cabin, just like we talked about the other day. So that was really, really cool. It is so peaceful out here. I had to walk about a mile to get out to this thing. I'd say an acre, I mean. A couple acres. If if these things bring you down, when people talk about it or whenever you address them, you need to find triggers and stuff that'll bring you up, that are positive triggers. I listened to this song, Till You Can't, the other day, and I had to play it about 20 something times until I finally quit crying. This is 3 days ago. And after that 19th play, when I got to the 20th time, like literally, I smiled and was able to handle the song and handle the emotions and handle the feelings enough to the point where I wanted to show somebody else to see if maybe the hardest thing to face might be the easiest way to beat it if you face it. No matter how many times you got to try, eventually you're going to win. Eventually you'll win. It was so hard for me to want to talk about some of these things with people because sometimes just talking alone like develops the thoughts and stuff like that. It makes it hard. But I'm not afraid to talk. Honestly, I wish everybody that I had talked to this week, Josh Meeks, Amber Pfeiffer, Taylor Wicks, Bobby, Eric, Ryan. I can't wait to talk to all y'all. I can't wait to talk to more people. Damon, I want to come hang out with you. I got to come see you. It's so important. And so, like, I don't know, facing mental illness, I guess, mental power with the illness of missing somebody. It ain't easy, but you're not alone. I don't want anybody to give up. I don't want anybody to give in. It's never too late to keep rolling. And if you know somebody hurt, don't be afraid to ask them questions. Don't be afraid to put them on the spot. Don't be afraid to make them think differently because sometimes that distraction is all we need to remember how strong we are when we go to fight. It may seem like bipolarness, but it's like normal to be upset, and it's also normal to like feel good and differently and better when something has happened. So if you could just have some type of distraction or break just for a minute, that's why I say run or walk. Sometimes your body just needs like 5 or 10 minutes of something different just to realize how much strength we all actually do have. I guess moving on, or before we move on, I want to say rest in peace to all of our loved ones, to everybody we care about. And I want to keep moving forward. And if you got to call me at midnight drinking or doing whatever you want to do just to let some stuff out and talk about it, please do. I'd love to. But rest in peace to all the ones we love. And I'm going to fight twice as hard moving forward for the people that I love. Never give up. So, something me and my brother talk about a lot. My brother Tony, he was on our podcast last time. Was filling time with other things other than your phone. Ironically, I'm on a phone to film this, but I know that there's things to do, and it may not seem possible, especially if, you know, going out is seems like to be the cool thing to do. But there are hobbies all around you. Every day I talk to somebody, I hear something new or a new idea or a new thing that they're getting involved in. And so going out and doing that, it's a matter of doing it. Like that's just it. You never know what you enjoy until you've actually like done it really either. So I started looking for geodes and stuff in the creek. It's one hobby, and that's just like the pastime. My favorite hobby is to go buy meals for people. Honestly, that's such a. It feels so good, and it feels so good when it happens to me that I don't know. Fill your time with things that actually make you feel better, or something like giving, or taking care of other people. There's no better way of filling time other than selflessly. It's like very hard to be sad seeing someone give or being the giver, and then watching people actually appreciate stuff and appreciate this life that we're given, which everybody should do wholeheartedly. If you don't, you need it's one of the first things you need to change. Being thankful. You know, when somebody hands you a food, a plate, don't say, "Well, I didn't get this right," or fix the situation calmly, but be thankful for what it is you get to do. Sometimes I just say thank you that I can still walk. Thank you that I can come out to this place. So it's awesome. So I came out here. So now would be a great time to show you all this. Check it out. Excuse the graffiti. Station camp, baby. I found this shed. Gotta watch my step. Yeah, there's some nasty stuff right on the walls, but it's pretty gnarly out here. Yeah, so sometimes it's cool to just walk around. You never know what you'll find either. This thing's pretty wicked. Figured y'all might want to see it. I had no idea this thing was here. I was walking. I was trying to find a tree. I was gonna go out in a tree and film in a tree, and stumbled across this thing. So I decided to come out here, talk about a couple things this week that I've been going through, and I've been seeing and feeling. Because I've noticed that a couple other people have been feeling, very, very similar. I think it has something to do with the weather change, to be honest. Feels like every time this year, every time around this year, oh my gosh, every year around this time, things just get, like, I don't know, more sad, harder to deal with. I don't know. The earth's heavy, the world gets heavy or whatever. And so we've got to change what we're doing, fill our time with better ways of living. Call, text, answer those texts, answer those calls, reach out to somebody. I had like a several hour texting conversation yesterday with a friend I ain't talked to in a long time, and now y'all are gonna see him soon. Y'all are gonna hear what he has to say. He's got a lot to say. He's very smart, and he'll be out this Sunday whenever I have the live podcast with him. I don't know how many guests will be on it right now. Another thing that I wanted to talk about, uh, friend groups. I've been noticing and feeling a lot of different things with friend groups and stuff recently in my life. And I think people are putting too much weight on that stuff. you know, for me to even want to talk about it right now, I'm probably putting too much weight on that stuff. But if anyone else is, I don't think any of it matters. If somebody calls you or like reaches out to you, like home in on that, not the stuff that doesn't happen. I said this to myself, and it really, really helped me this week. I don't know. Just seemed like we're changing or something, and I'm trying to combat it really, really hard. And I think the best way is just to fill my time with something, be given, do something for somebody else. A bought meal a day keeps the bad juju away. That's something I just made not too long ago. And I guess I had like one more thing I wanted to talk about before I wrap this up. This one's just a short podcast, and I'm sorry for that. I just have a couple things that I wanted to address quickly, and then had be more set up by next week. Because the first interview or the first podcast I had, I was interrupting and kind of cutting him off, and felt a lot of pressure and stuff like that. And I don't want to feel that next time I have one. And so I wanted to address a couple of these things and fill a little bit of time, and hopefully have some of this touch somebody or help somebody in some way. Hope you've enjoyed listening and everything. It was hard for me to get up and come do this today. So I thought it was going to rain, and I didn't know if it'd be worth it. But every time I do something at all, it always pays off. It's always worth it. But the last thing I wanted to talk about is like a 2D and a 3D way of thinking. And I feel like there are two ways you can look at things in life, 2D or 3D. 2D is the direct path, the easy route, and everything that Tony had said that people will always choose to do. And a 2D way of thinking, I feel like even all the way to being like Christian or any type of religious, hard, very hard, stern religious, you create your own 2D way of thinking. And I think it ain't fair to yourself, and you don't realize what you can't learn whenever you force your way of thinking to be a 2D way of thinking. And I feel like I've got a 3D way of thinking. A lot of my friends and people who've reached out to me, they've got a 3D way of thinking as well, which means looking at things from different perspectives and accepting that you may be wrong, even if you believe something, but someone else could be right, as in like learning the knowledge that they have to share, because it may be a different way of thinking than yours. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's wrong, but it's hard for people to do that with religion specifically, which causes turmoil or hate or negativity and stuff, and it splits families. So I want people to try the next time they're out, when somebody says something that they don't agree with or something, or a point of view or a reaction that they don't necessarily agree with. I want you to try your hardest to home in on it and try to find a way to agree with it, or see it in a different way. That way it doesn't cause you any pain or any anger or anything like that because you want to retaliate because you believe differently. Retaliating that way has changed a lot, you know, of where I am now, and how I interpret the way the world seems to be mean to me. Instead of letting it really be mean, I just find a way of understanding the way that the world's throwing stuff at me, maybe in a different way, in a 3D way of thinking, instead of just a direct way of what I feel all the time. And it's made me very patient. It's made me very happy. It's made me very comfortable and love the opportunities that I've had in life. And I think if y'all would just react differently, maybe all of us, I still work on it because I still get mad sometimes, especially playing the video games or something. Uh, but if you just change your mind and don't just have such a direct 2D way of thinking, I think your responses will get better, and you'll get better, and your patience will grow. And if your patience grows, your peace grows. And if your peace grows, you grow and learn, and your life ain't as hard. And then eventually you wake up and it's really easy to put stuff down, coffee, cigarettes, sugar, anything and everything that might make you not truly be free, I guess. The chains of all the chains that we all know. Maybe to make you want to go be physically stronger, and work out a little bit more because we all need to. It's about to get cold outside too, and we're not going to feel like doing that at all. No one's going to feel like doing it. So I think diving back in with religion, the 2D and 3D way of thinking will divide friends and family and all these friend groups that I'm talking about. And I think being open minded is a very, very good start for a new world for us. Being open minded to anything. I know there's so much hate in the world. People hate gays and whatever else, trans, whites, blacks, whatever. People are all about thinking about that or caring about that stuff. And I think if you just interpreted it differently and accepted the fact that some families are allowed to feel how they want to feel about their culture and their religion, that's okay, man. I don't, Chinese, Korean, whatever, hate me or my kind or whatever, that's cool, dude. That's their family, that's their burdens. They can hold on to hate, they can hold on to whatever. That doesn't mean I have to not like them just because they think and feel a different way than I do. And that's the 2D and 3D way of thinking. When you're putting it outside of colors and races and stuff like that, and you just take it straight to human beings. I don't really know how to braid, but I think I braided something here. I'm not really sure what we got. It's pretty cool. But with religion specifically, it'll tear groups up and tear people up. And like immediately, if someone's like, "Hey, I'm Christian," there's just this label and judgment and idea and this 2D way of thinking. When if you went into every situation broadly open in a 3D world pers- perspective, um, you won't hate as much. And that'd be a good start to us moving forward as people and learning more and opening our minds more and I don't accepting one another for whatever they want to be instead of even having thoughts of hate and stuff like that. So I hope that helped. I'm gonna have my friend Eric come out next Sunday. Y'all be able to meet him and hear what he has to say. He has a lot to talk about with world finances and stuff. And we have a lot of stories we're going to share about our geode hunts and hopefully link up and show that off and see what he has to say about that. If you're feeling down, go buy somebody a meal. Go do something like that. That will instantly make you feel a lot better every time. Even if you don't have the money, go work for that. Instead of going and working for something, go work to be able to do that, and you'll actually feel twice as good. Hope your coffee was good this morning. I hope your drive was good. I hope everybody's safe. I hope everybody has a lot of love. I'm looking forward to more feedback, and I'm looking forward to more conversations with each and every one of you. Thank you so much for listening. I can't wait to move forward, and I hope everybody else does too. I love y'all. Peace.